Hello again, my name is Amber Stanley. I'm the Assistant Director of Calling and Career at Taylor University, and today we're going to talk about design thinking. I hope that you had a chance to complete our introductory module on designing your life. If you have, you had a chance to spend some time considering who you are, the gifts and abilities that God's uniquely gifted you with, and the kinds of things that you love to do. So if you haven't completed that module, it's super short. I highly recommend you hit pause, jump back, and give that one a shot first. But regardless, now that we know ourselves a little bit better, it's time to talk about design thinking. All right, what isn't design thinking? This map represents that pretty well. This is the way that most people would prefer to think about their lives. So they'd really prefer to have a clear starting and ending point, that nice, beautiful red X at the end. People want to avoid roadblocks at all costs, and they want to see the whole picture from the very beginning. And we all know that life just doesn't work out this way, even when you're using Google Maps. Roadblocks jump out of nowhere. Jobs and entire industries come and go. So if you've ever seen the movie A Bug's Life, you might remember the iconic scene where all the ants are walking in a row carrying their food, and a leaf floats down from the sky and falls in the middle of the line, and the ant right up next to the leaf throws the food up in the air and screams, "I'm lost!" Common human experience, frankly. But the goal of this process is to help you either really not totally avoid those moments, because they're going to happen, but just know what to do when they come along. Okay, let's talk about design thinking. As I mentioned in our last module, Designing Your Life was developed by two tech designers. One thing that's true about designers is that designers don't think or map their way forward. Designers build their way forward. So when you're designing a new product, a designer first needs to connect with the customer. In the case of life design, that's you. The second step is to define the product. What is one way to meet the customer's need? What's one example of what they want? Next, it's time to ideate. Designers spend time brainstorming, coming up with several different options that could meet the need. And after choosing their favorite idea, it's time to create a prototype and test it out. This is a pretty classic example of design thinking. So imagine if it was your job to create the very first iPhone. Your first try isn't going to be a home run. Here are just a few of the iterations that iPhones have gone through over the years. I'm sure many of you can remember some of the reasons the iPhone was upgraded from one version to the next. So with any design process, iteration is the key. But how do you do that with your life? In order to think like a designer, we need to do away with some dysfunctional beliefs. So we've all heard these questions before. What's your passion? What are you going to do with your life? The assumption is that we have answers to all these questions, and when we don't, the disorienting questions lead to dysfunctional beliefs. I should have one passion. I should have my life figured out. Let's do away with these questions and beliefs. They belong with the map in the glove box. Okay, let's talk about life design. Remember, most importantly, life design starts with empathy. And here's the best part. Just like with the iPhone, a designer can return to this process as many times as they want. What's most important is considering the unique needs of the customer. And remember, the customer is you. So we've unpacked this idea of design thinking, designing our way forward as opposed to mapping. But before we can make big plans, we have to address the invisible elephant in the room. Gravity problems. Just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're not there. You've all run into these before. The key to gravity problems is that if they're not actionable, they're not really problems. They're also not going anywhere. So let's take a look at some examples. First of all, my mom isn't well. I was going to go away to grad school, but now I need to stay close to home. How can I get around this? You can't. It's a gravity problem. I've decided I'd really like to be a teacher, but I'm a junior bio major. I can't afford more years of school. How can I finish my ed degree? Ooh, you probably can't. It's a gravity problem. Or even the company I work for isn't a startup anymore. I'm not getting the promotions I used to. How can I get around this? Again, gravity problem. There's no solution to a gravity problem, only acceptance and redirection. When you accept it, you're free to work around that situation and find something that's actionable. The key is not to get stuck on something that you have effectively no chance at succeeding at. The goal is to get to a place of radical acceptance, realizing that the situation that I'm in is the only situation available to me. Okay, let's take a look at some reframes. My mom isn't well. I was going to go away to grad school, but now I need to stay close to home. How can I get around this? How about, because I'll need to stay close to my family, I'll be in Indy for the next few years. What opportunities can I explore while I'm there? Or reframing problem number 2. I've decided that I want to be a teacher, but I can't complete my degree in time. Since it's too late to switch my major, what opportunities exist for me to teach without a license or to transition to teaching after graduation? That's a reframe. All right. Now that we understand gravity problems, let's spend a little bit more time getting to the heart of what you need. In addition to our unique gifts and abilities, we all have a set of non-negotiables, those things we can't compromise on. Examples are your values, circumstances, location, or maybe even a gravity problem. For this activity, I want you to spend some time identifying those non-negotiables. I'd like for you to list at least 5. Jot those down along with the results of your last activity. Most importantly, be sure to be honest with yourself. If your entire family lives in Michigan and what you want more than anything is to live near your family for the rest of your life, living in Michigan is a non-negotiable. Write it down. Once you complete this activity, we'll take all the information you've collected and put it to good use in our next module, Odyssey Planning.